I don't know about you guys, but I find it entirely humorous that a trick that was invented way back in, the early 60s, arguably by General Motors, of taking the biggest engine you got and shoehorning it into a lesser car. Now, this is not exactly the same analogy. This ain't a lesser car. In fact, it's the same size as the car the engine came out of, but it's still the biggest engine they got, so the analogy, it still applies and is still alive and well. So with that, let's drive the Porsche Cayenne GTS S. You and I have seen this engine before on two separate occasions. First, of course, was the Cayenne Turbo, a lot more output there. And then the Panamera GTS, that was a very good day at the office. We drove that on the Bahrain F1 circuit. And like that, this is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, 453 horsepower, 457 pounds of torque. And what's unique for a V8, that torque comes in as low as 1,800 RPM, stays flat all the way up to 4,500 RPM. Yes, 8 forward gears, and yes, this is a Porsche, but no, it's a Tiptronic, not a PDK, and that's all about torque and towing. And then there are the turbochargers. Remember in the 911 Turbo S episode, we've been talking a lot about how the twin turbos there, they changed them to counter-rotating turbos. Well, they did the same thing here. And then last but not least, packaging. The car that this replaces was a V6, so you'd think it's a smaller, lighter engine. Turns out that's not the case. This engine with 2 extra cylinders is lighter, and then most importantly, they were able to package this engine lower in the car. I left out the most important part of that discussion we just had in the hangar. This, as it sits, 4,932 pounds. If it was a long roof Cayenne, it'd be another 20 pounds on top of that. With that, oh no, the weight really does not play a role here. God, this thing is crazy fast. Like, I don't know if Porsche's kind of maybe almost too crazy offering this and a turbo version of the Cayenne, because the way this thing delivers power, it's identical. God, this thing is fast, and wow! In keeping with GTS tradition, there are many changes to the suspension. Yet, full disclosure, very few are exclusive to the GTS. There is an example of one that is exclusive to the GTS, and that is the ride height. This car, which is a German market car that's here on temporary loan to the US, rides 30 mils lower. Now, huge asterisk there. All the North American market cars will ride 30 mils lower. In Europe, there is like an odd option for a steel spring car that will ride 20 mils lower. Then on top of that, PASM, Sport Chrono, and Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus all fitted as standard to GTSs. And then there are the brakes. On GTSs, they're fitted with 390 millimeter rotors up front, 358 in the back. Now, the technical mumbo jumbo is all fine and good, but here's a very graphic example. You're going to see an episode on an X5M competition in, I want to say, a couple weeks. It's literally sitting at the hangar right now. I had to park it to drive this. And the control over pitch in this application with PDCC is miles better than a vehicle that has over 150 more horsepower than this. So the exhaust, it's plumbed completely differently. So remember, twin turbo V8, turbochargers in the V, so the exhaust theoretically starts at those turbochargers, and where other cars would come out from the back of the engine and then connect together into one exhaust and then muffler, it's 2 completely separate different tracks running the length of the vehicle into a central muffler that does what mufflers do, and then there's a secondary muffler towards the back of the vehicle right in front of these exhaust tips, and that does something very fascinating. There are 3 different positions where you can run the sound through both tracks through the muffler to quiet the vehicle. You can completely bypass the muffler so it's louder, or you can have like a variation in between. So let's experiment with that in practice, and to do so we have to go into the PCM, specifically the car menu, and there is a button. I don't really want to call it a button because it's buried on a screen, and this is where I have a request to Zuffenhausen. Can we move often used functions to real buttons, preferably toggle switches, especially cool things like this, because yes, it would be easier, but also significantly safer. Now the only thing left to do is, rather than me talk, you listen. And let's scrub some speed off, and I'll try a couple of downshifts to see if you guys can hear the difference. That's second. This is a Tiptronic, so it won't do downshifts right on demand. It's really in lower gears where you're really winding it out that you notice the difference in the depth of the sound. Yes, it is indeed that time again to play your favorite game in mind, the options game, with today's contestant, something rather special. Now I know what you're thinking. We play this game a lot with Porsche, so how could this one be special? Well, you see, that is here on a tourist visa. Yeah, a tourist visa von Deutschland. It is a German market car. It was brought here by Porsche Cars North America for us to evaluate for a couple of days. And this one has arguably the most options I have ever seen on a Porsche in the history of this game. So with that, let's dive right into the 2021 Cayenne GTS Coupe for a base price here in the good old US of A, $110,500. To that we add Carmine Red. Now I know via the comments you guys seem to love this color, $3,150. Then there's the interior, which I love. It's the leather interior that's black and silver with the houndstooth. Thankfully, no charge, and I believe only on the Cayenne Coupe derivation, not the long roof. Then, this is a bit of an oxymoron on a vehicle that weighs about 5,000 pounds. Lightweight sport package in carbon, $12,620. Carbon fiber trim like that over there. Then on top of that, this package also includes the sport design exterior mirror housing in carbon fiber. And I would like to note that these two things are part of the Porsche exclusive manufacture process. Then we had something very important here, the sport exhaust system included with the center mounted tailpipes in black. Only on the coupe derivation of the Cayenne, the 22-inch GT design wheels with wheel arch extensions in exterior color, and then the steering wheel in race text, I think that's a very fancy way of saying Alcantara, the interior trim in carbon fiber, and then the carbon fiber roof Porsche exclusive manufacture. Now that is the only part of this I really wouldn't want, because by getting the carbon fiber roof, you can't have the panoramic roof that's fitted as standard to these things. Some feedback to Zuffenhausen, can we have this package without the carbon fiber roof so we can have the glass roof? That would be wunderbar. That, again, all part of the lightweight sport package in carbon fiber. And then we move on to an option we see not just in Porsches, but also Mercedes AMGs, thermally and noise insulated glass. For the life of me, I do not understand this choice, because here's a car that's supposed to be loud and obnoxious. Why would you want it to be quiet on the inside and pay for that privilege $1,130? Then a head-up display, something very new in Porsches. Thankfully it is here, or I should say vielen Dank, $1,700. Actually, can you make that standard? That's a lot of money on a $100,000 car. Surround view, $1,200. That's free on like $30,000 Hyundais. Lane change assist, $950. Soft closed doors, didn't expect to see that, $780. Then moving on to some more basic options, heated windshield, $490. Ionizer, $350. Ambient lighting, $430. Adaptive sports seats plus with memory package. A little bit surprised they are not standard here, but I guess that's one of the differentiations between this and the turbo, because they are standard in a turbo, $1,710. Heated front and rear seats, $1,060. Four-zone climate control, $990. Sport Chrono stopwatch or compass dial in carmine red that is part of Porsche exclusive manufacture. It looks magnificent, $420. Central tachometer in carmine red, an additional $420. And then to round out that same number, cargo management system, also $420. Interior grab handles and race text, again, kind of Alcantara. That is part of Porsche exclusive manufacture, $1,380. To that we add smartphone compartment with wireless charging, $690. That's wireless charging, optional, on a $111,000 vehicle. Bose surround sound system for $1,200. May I make a suggestion? Don't go with the Bose as much as I love the people over there. You need the Burmester. It rocks. Preparation for rear seat entertainment. This is not the rear seat entertainment, just the prep for it. $380, and for some odd reason, that is part of Porsche exclusive manufacture. And then this car, I hadn't seen it in there, but it has Porsche rear seat entertainment, also part of Porsche exclusive manufacture, for $1,920. May I suggest you buy every passenger in your vehicle a brand new iPad. Then the first year of maintenance, or 10,000 miles, that is free. To that, we add a destination and handling fee, finally, of $1,350 for a total retail price here in the good old US of A for $161,170. Yeah, we've seen head-up display many times before. Most of the Germans do them at this point. This one, late to the party, but wow, did they make up for lost time. There are 6 configurable segments or sections, so you can set it up any way you want. Now, ideally, you don't want to be using it with polarized sunglasses. Oddly, it's reminiscent of your desktop at home, because you could see the analogy is a desktop on a computer. That's what they were going for here. Very nice touch. It's entirely possible that this is the absolute nicest Cayenne GTS that you and I will ever see in our lifetimes, and that is all because of the very special options that have been spec'd out on this thing. But that kind of points out some inconsistencies with the GTS-ness of a GTS, if that's a thing. Like, for example, all that carbon fiber trim we saw, well, that kind of upstages the black trim, which is fitted as standard to Cayenne GTSs. And then the houndstooth interior, Santa Maria, Madre de Dios, the houndstooth interior. I'd always go houndstooth, but that takes away the standard Alcantara interior. And then when we're talking about Alcantara, whether it's houndstooth or Alcantara, you can't have cooled seats with either one of those materials. I think that's a small price to pay. And then there's the chalk or the carmine red GTS package. This one sort of has it with the tachometer and the sport chrono, but for me it would be adding the seat belts as well. Okay, so Sport Plus and everything, drop the hammer down. And I'm gonna say it again, I've said it in many episodes involving these things. PDCC transforms the experience of a Cayenne, but I would argue it's more than that. It transforms the experience of the equation of high center of gravity, big heavy vehicle, and lots of power. A lot of power, like in this case. But the struggle I'm having is, yeah, the extra power is great, but really what this GTS derivation is about, it's the zenith of how to set up a Cayenne from a chassis perspective.